So I want to talk to you guys about cross ties. I get a lot of questions about cross ties. A lot of facilities have cross ties. If you keep your horse at a boarding place or an adjustment place, they might have cross ties. And if you don't know what cross ties are, they're a tie like on the sides of this. This was a wash rack. It used to be a wash rack at this place here. And there's a ring over there and a ring over there. So you'll have a rope, two ropes come in, and they'll hold the horse by the side of the halter like this, okay? There's no physical barrier in front of them. They're not tied to a post, they're not tied to a wall, they're not tied to a hitching rack. So it's quite easy for a horse to walk off and not realize that's there, then hit it, get into trouble, turn around, do all sorts of things. And this one's quite wide. A lot of times they're probably more enclosed spaces than this. But, you know, the golden rule for wash racks is basically the golden rule, or the principle that was in my book, The Principles of Training, is they need to know the answer before you ask the question. And so they need to know, what that means in this case is they need to know all the parts before you ask the question. So in order to do anything in cross ties, first of all, your horse has to be good in the cross ties, meaning he's totally comfortable in here. You know, if he's worried in here and you're hanging on to him and he's trying to leave, and then you cross tie him and he walks forward and hits that, but there's no visible reminder that he's supposed to be here, you can have all sorts of problems right there. So they've got to be comfortable in this area. Okay, so one of the principles of training is change one thing at a time. They've got to be comfortable in this area. Anything you do to them, what I'd like to be able to do is they've got to be comfortable in this area, and anything you plan to do with them when they are cross-tied, I would like them to be able to do not cross-tied. So, you know, if you were going to fly spray your horse, you'd want to be able to fly spray him in here without being cross-tied. If you were going to saddle your horse, you'd like to be able to leave him there. Come in, grab your saddle pad. Hey Chancy, how's it going? Come out here, put the saddle pad on, go grab your saddle from the tack room here. Take your saddle out. Where are you going, mister? And put that on too. But I would want this horse to be good to be saddled outside somewhere where he can move his feet first. So basically anything you want to do with them in here, they've got to be able to do all those parts separately really well, especially elsewhere. So he's got to be able to be fly sprayed, pick his feet, whatever it is you're going to do. He's got to be able to be saddled good without you having to hang on to him. So you've got all the things that work separately from this. He's got to be comfortable in here. He's got to be able to tie up. And then by the time you put the cross ties on, you won't have any problems. But usually cross tie issues come about because they're trying to use the cross ties to control the horse. You know, the horse doesn't like to be here, doesn't like what you're doing to him. And there's really a golden rule. One of my golden rules for horsemanship is don't attempt to do anything to them tied up that they won't submit to willingly without them being tied up. And another level up from that is don't do anything to them cross-tied that they won't submit willing to tied up, normally not cross-tied, like say tied to a fence, tied to a post or whatever. So, you know, really it comes down to the principles, and they need to know the answer before you ask the question and change one thing at a time. And if you can do those principles with cross ties, you can avoid a lot of, you know, traumatic events that happen in cross ties, but you do have to be kind of present to what's going on, and you've got to be able to put your agenda out of the way and go, okay, I can't take him out there and ride him right now, I've got to work on this. But the big thing is just don't do things in here that they don't know how to do well elsewhere.